Now, January at the box office tends to be a very interesting month. The thing is, you can't exactly place your bets on any particular film to win. The quality of films doesn't tend to be as high as certain subsequent months, so you're not exactly sure the way the box office will ultimately go, but here's what happened. On the 3rd of January, you had Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, which was the spin-off to the original Paranormal Activity series. It's not technically Paranormal Activity 5. It opened to $18 million, shockingly to number 2, which was a bit of a disappointment, to be honest. It currently has 82 million worldwide. It's the least grossing of the Paranormal Activity films domestically. It currently has 32 million, and I think it'll stay around the $35 million mark. And worldwide, it's also the least grossing so far, so it's a little disappointing that it didn't do that well. It didn't release around October or Halloween as the other films have, perhaps that's why. On the 10th of January, we had The Legend of Hercules with a production budget of $70 million. The thing is, the reviews really hurt this film, and this film opened to number 3, in fact, with $8.8 million for a current worldwide gross of $19 million. I don't think there's going to be a sequel at this rate. I mean, it's not much money at all. It's not even going to break even. It's unfortunate. Could end up closing at around $25 to $30 million. And rumor has it that they changed the title as well from the Hercules The Legend Begins to now The Legend of Hercules. Perhaps because Hercules The Legend Begins kind of gives the idea that there's going to be a sequel, but now I don't think there is. And on the 17th of January, we have Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit, a budget of $60 million. It's currently made $80 million worldwide. I think by the end of its run, it could just about scrape $100 million, which would be pretty good. Would it be enough to spawn a sequel? I don't know, but nonetheless, I mean, it's not a terrible gross by any means. I think if you include the advertising expenses with this, it just about gets a slight amount of a profit. Nonetheless, getting to 100 million overall would be alright, I suppose. On the 17th of January, we also had Ride Along, which is doing surprisingly well. A budget of just $25 million. Turns out Kevin Hart and Ice Cube really managed to attract people to the cinema, because it opened to $41 million at number 1, and with 2,663 theaters, it's got a pretty solid average of above $15,000 per theater, and I think that Ride Along is doing the best. I think Ride Along's taken the month pretty much. I mean, it's only been out for 2 weeks as compared to Paranormal Activity, but it will definitely outgross Paranormal Activity. 80 million domestically, it's gonna end up grossing and going far past $100 million. Same weekend, you also had The Nut Job, which cost $42 million to make and currently has $42 million as its box office gross. It opened to number 3, and I mean, it was a really different kind of comedy, not marketed so much towards children, and I don't suspect that it's going to spawn a sequel in any form. I don't think that it ended up doing that well. The reviews really did not help the film in any way when it comes to box office gross. On the 24th of January, you had I, Frankenstein, which was sought to be one of the big releases. A budget of $65 million with Aaron Eckhart. It was people were looking forward to it to a certain extent. It opened to number 6, which is so disappointing. I mean, $8 million for a film like this with over 2,500 theaters. I mean, I was extremely shocked when this happened, and it opened to number 6, which is one disappointment. It's got 27 million worldwide so far in the first week. While I think it can certainly break even, maybe slice a little bit of a profit in the long run, it's pretty hard to tell right now. Next month, though, there are some interesting films that are going to be released, at least from a box office perspective. The Lego Movie, The Monuments Men. You got a lot to look forward to, and a lot that I think will make a lot of money.